you lift up, you're on that back. Open, close, head up, nope, flex out, come on, flex out of there.
Not about getting the weight from A to B. I decided to do my own channel just because I've had people ask me to online. Like I get a lot of support from a lot of people online and on Instagram, and it's really nice to see. And it's like encouraging, right? Because I never got into this because I wanted to, like, this is what I wanted to do. Like it literally started with me helping Antoine with like a body part, and then it just has blown up into what it's blown up into, and I'm very grateful, and I'm thankful that what I'm doing is helping people. Because people write me every day, and they tell me every day how much different things I'm telling them is helping them hit like different body parts better, which is like, that's all I really wanted to do with this. I just wanted to take away I wanted to like almost pull down the curtain and like the facade of what bodybuilding is, where it's like, oh, you can only do bodybuilding these certain ways, and you can only do progressive overload or this type of technique or that type of technique or 5 sets of 5. Like, I just wanted to like kind of tear all that down, because I never adhered to any of that. Like I did when I was younger, and I was confused, and I was just trying to find my way in bodybuilding. But the older I got and the more I got exposed to bodybuilding and training, I realized it's just kind of something that you kind of find your own way. And if you're constantly trying to find your own way, eventually it'll mold into like this morph of like all the things you've been exposed to, like the best of the best of all the things you've experienced, right? And you can also learn as you keep going and implement things and plug them in where you need them. And that's what a real bodybuilder is, right? It's not like adhering to this I only lift this way, like I only lift Dorian Yates way, I do high intensity training. And it's like, yeah, there's room for everything though. And people need to understand that this dogma of bodybuilding where it's like, we only do these things in this way, and for our back we do barbell rows, and we only do this, and for bench press you need to do this, like all these things. Like it doesn't need to be that way, and whatever works for you is going to work for you. And yes, you should try everything. You should try all kinds of different techniques, different training styles, give them their fair due of like time you're gonna dedicate to them. And if it keeps working for you, then keep doing it. And if you enjoy it, keep doing it. But if there's other stuff you see another person doing and you want to try that, it's okay to mix it in. It's okay to be your own person when it comes to bodybuilding, just as it is in life, right? Not to get too preachy, but whatever works for you doesn't work for the next guy. Whatever works for that guy doesn't work for the next guy. It's by person basis, right? So that's kind of why I wanted to make this channel, is to have, like, and also like, it didn't want to like be inundating HD's channel with all my crap all the time, because I mean, sure, people will get sick of seeing my face eventually. So it's like, I might as well have another outlet to be able to like say what I want to say and help people. And on this channel, I want to just really do kind of stuff that's outside the box. Like I want to keep showing people different training styles and different hand techniques, like hand placement, head technique, wherever you're putting your body, like different stuff I see that works for me. But also kind of do like this Q&A stuff where it's not like just this Instagram thing where I'm responding to a question for 2 seconds and flipping off just for content. It's like I want to really get to know the people that follow me and kind of create a community where it's like, it's just kind of an anti-bullshit community where people are sharing ideas of stuff that works, right? We're not like too heavily on one side or too heavily on the other side. It's kind of a blend of like all good things coming together. And I kind of got that idea and that whole idea of bringing a community together, like when I was with Animal. So when I was with Animal, I was only with Animal for a short time, maybe 2 years or something, but it's like you got the sense when you were with them that you were a part of something, and it was greater than just a supplement company. It was like, it wasn't just people come together to promote products and push products, and like it was like literally like everyone cared about each other, right? And I met a lot of good people there, like P Diesel and Al Fortney, G Diesel, all these great guys who were like, kind of took me in. I was nobody. Like I was just some kid from Canada who like somehow worked his way into that brand, on top of Frank, who was just like the face of the brand, right? So all those guys, and Frank also, and Evan, made me feel very comfortable. And all the people even more so that came around Animal that weren't necessarily a part of the company but just lived the lifestyle that the brand had kind of created. That's what I want to replicate, right? So it's like, yeah, I don't have a supplement company where I'm like Animal, but I'm attached to HD, which is a very reputable company, and guys I like and guys I trust and have the best intentions for people. So it's just kind of creating community for people who kind of see things the way I do and kind of want to get rid of the fucking fluff of bodybuilding, right? So stop looking at the micro problems and like, oh, this is this way and this way. It's like, let's fix your macro view of what's going on here and understand that like maybe overthinking things is hindering you, and maybe you should just go back to doing things that you feel and things that you like movements you feel, diet plans that you can follow, like training programs that adhere to your lifestyle. Because not everybody can do all this stuff that people prescribe to people to do, right? So it's like, you have to do what works for you, and you have to understand that like, as long as you're in the gym working, you are progressing towards something. Just because you can't label it something, and there's like, oh, it's an 8-week period of this and that, like every day you step in the gym is a chance for you to get better. So whatever the workout is, every day you go to the gym, your mindset should be, I'm here to get better. And it doesn't mean like, oh, my warm-up sets don't count, only my top sets count. Like, no, every time you touch a weight, guys, you're getting yourself better. You're connecting with muscle, you're tearing down tissue, you're doing things, you're tearing up muscle fibers, and you're creating an environment for growth all the time. That's how you should think about every session at the gym. It shouldn't just come in here like lackadaisical and, oh, you do whatever we want. It's just like, we want to create this idea that everything we do matters, every rep we count do matters, and that everyone needs to understand that you're the missing link to everything that's connected in this world, right? So you can have a diet, you can have a trainer, you can have this style of training, you can have all these different factors, but you're dead in the middle. And if you don't work properly and you don't listen and understand properly and want to be better on your own, none of these outside factors are going to make you better. So you have to understand like, this is on you. So that's just what we're trying to get across here, is this overarching idea that like, this is about you, and I'm here to empower people and help them move better. So you can train in any training style you want. You can do any program you want, you can follow any coach you want, you can adhere to anybody's philosophies as much as you want. But as long as we understand we're getting your movement pattern corrected and we're getting you to move efficiently, then I'm happy doing, that's as much as I want to do for people. Just get you moving better, and then you can go off and do whatever you want to do, however nonsensical it is or sensical it is. So on top of being part of HD Muscle, which everyone knows me through, and my association with Dorian and everybody here, I'm also president of an online supplement store called mysupplements.ca. So any of you guys want to check that out, we deliver same-day delivery in the GTA and pretty much all of the greater Toronto area for people who aren't from Toronto. But we also deliver worldwide. So if you guys ever want supplements, or there's stuff that maybe we don't have at HD, or stuff you guys like to take that's your own, whatever your preference, then feel free to check on there. That's something that I'm majorly affiliated with. It's we just saw like a hole in the supplement store market online, just in the fact that the deliveries were it took so long. Like even on Amazon, like we beat Amazon in terms of delivery. We deliver same day. As long as your order's in before 11 o'clock that same day, or 12 o'clock, I think, then you're gonna get your order by that night. So we just identified a weakness in that, and me and my partners, we just decided that this is something we should do. The pandemic kind of heightened that because everyone was ordering everything online. So it was like, how do we get stuff to people quicker? And it just kind of arose out of that. So I put a thing out on Instagram telling people I'd be doing a Q&A today. So I got a shit ton of more questions than I thought I was gonna get. I thought I'd get like 2, so this would be easy. I didn't think people are paying attention. But yeah, so I'll just pick one at random, or a bunch at random. The first question is from Marcus Severia. It says, best upper chest exercises for growth. So I've said this in like tons of videos, and I'm sure be pissed about it, but like I understand the concept of training your upper chest on an incline press, but the idea is you should understand how to train your chest, period, before you start fucking with angles, right? So if you can't contract your whole pec on a flat bench, why are you going to incline when you haven't mastered the idea of rolling your shoulder back and lifting your chest on a flat bench? Because it's a lot easier to do that on a flat bench than it is on an incline, where you're gonna wanna trap on shoulder where you're strong, and you're gonna wanna pinch down and trap and upper back, right? So unless you understand this feeling of being set down on things where I'm able to let things fall into me on a flat bench, as soon as we get this angle and we do it here, we get less depth. So unless we know how to bring our shoulders down and our hands flatter and pushing out, we're not going to get it, right? So I would tell people, like, there's lots of great exercises for upper chest. Like, a lot of incline stuff is good, but you need to connect with your chest first before you think that just the act of doing incline press is going to cause your chest to get bigger up top, right? Because honestly, I can hit upper chest and I can send a contraction to my upper pec with a decline press if I know how to move through weight, right? So it's about sending contraction through the whole muscle. Like, yes, we target on lower pec, but then we lift up through and we squeeze up to upper, right? So our whole pec is engaged in the movement. It's just not like I'm isolating. I can't cross-section my chest and say I'm only working here now. Like, we need the whole thing to work in order for the whole chest to grab, right? So if you're not working through a range that allows that to happen and getting depth in your shoulder and contraction in your back and sternum lift, it doesn't really matter. So there's a lot of questions I got asking me about, like, best exercises for this, and this is like, the easiest answer is the one you feel the best. So if you do incline presses and you feel your dumbbell incline press better than a barbell incline press, that's probably because you have shitty mobility, and on the bar anyway. So when the dumbbell comes down, it allows you to get deeper. So a bar would stop here, whereas the dumbbell can sit into my rib cage more, or into my shoulder deeper, so I can have more range in my press and I can press, right? So that's the easiest answer, is do what exercise you feel the best and then go from there in correcting your overall pressing technique and your chest movement, right? So that's my biggest advice there. ND_NDT says, what supplements do you take? Obviously I take HD supplements. So. What are some underrated exercises people overlook? I honestly think that more people should overlook exercises. I think you should, like, just get rid of shit that doesn't work for you. So adhering, like, you hear this rhetoric all the time, like, oh, you got to deadlift to get a big back, you got to squat to get big legs. No, you don't. You really don't. Like, some of the guys who have the best backs in the world don't deadlift at all. They know how to engage their back and hit their back and develop their entire back, which is very hard to do on a deadlift anyway, which is majorly a compound movement that's using your whole body to move a weight, right? So I think in my eyes, like, you guys will see me doing the same exercises, same machines over and over again. It's because I like them. So I'm not just gonna try a machine for the sake of trying it. Like, this, whatever chest press over there, I'm gonna do just because it's different than this chest press. But I try that chest press and I don't like it. I don't like the way it moves, I don't like the angle, so I literally will abandon, I'll never use that machine. Because I don't understand why I would want to do that when I feel what I'm doing on the other machine so much better, right? _VIP love _sing. That's an awesome name. Says, please make a video on abs too, Mike. We will love to learn from the best about that also. Well, I don't do anything for abs. The only thing I do for abs now, I used to do stuff when I was younger, like crunches off the exercise ball and different things like that, and getting, like, extension through my core. But now I literally just do, like, rope curls on a cable. So, like, I'll get up as high as I can and I'll empty out my rib cage and then I'll crunch over in midair. So I'll create length through my torso and then I'll crunch over, right? So I don't really do crunches, nor do I do leg raises or anything like that. So, not that those are bad, you should do them if you want to do them. It's great for core, it's just I'm pretty lazy. So, and when I was boxing, I used to box on and off just for fun, like recreation, but I took it seriously because anything I get into that's, like, sports-wise, I usually get pretty deep into. And I did abs for that, and it was just like torture, so I didn't want to do it anymore when I walked away from it. Next question is from Robin Strand, who's a fellow HDE athlete. Help him train. He says, what's the biggest mistake pro bodybuilders make? Well, I can only tell you the mistakes I've made because I was a pro at one time. I'm no longer a pro. I'll never be competing again. But my biggest mistake was listening to stupid people and not trusting my own instincts, right? So if you kind of know that you're on the right path and you feel that what you're doing is right and you know you're putting in maximum effort, then just kind of keep going on the path you're going on, right? Because there's always going to be, like, say you go to train with a certain guy and he tells you to do things a certain way. There's always going to be someone else who has a different way. who say you're not getting results or you're not seeing progression enough, it's like you're gonna find yourself constantly bouncing around to all these people without ever giving what you're trying to do a really good run for its money. So like I didn't follow the instructions of this person's advice, and I just bounce to this next person's advice, and then I take them for what they're worth, and then I go here. And that's, I tell people all the time, you should learn from everybody, and you should, but like I said, you should give them their time to allow you to adhere to what they're trying to show you, right? Before you just dismiss it. So I made the mistake. I trained with the same guy for the same two guys for my whole bodybuilding career. It was my buddy Joe in Rhode Island, who doesn't want me to use his last name. He trained me when I first got into bodybuilding. Then I moved up to Toronto, and I got introduced to my ex-trainer Darren, who's here. He passed away a while ago, but I only trained with those two guys my entire life. So, and also when I was younger, I got introduced to a guy named Marlon at U of T, who kind of took me under his wing and taught me like a lot of shit before I even knew that I was going to get into bodybuilding stuff. It was just for football and sport specific stuff, but he got me squatting properly, benching properly. So I had a lot of really good teachers and a lot of guys who took me under their wing and didn't ask for anything from me. So that's why a lot of the stuff that I do, I have a hard time accepting that like I should be making money for this, because I had so many people selflessly help me along the way, like didn't want anything from me, just me to do well. So like I'm grateful to those guys. Like I said, to get back to the question, the biggest mistake I made was I got to a point where I started doubting these people, and I didn't understand that it was me that was doubting myself, right? So I'm questioning these people's intentions with me. Meanwhile, they have nothing but pure intentions. But as a bodybuilder, we all know, like between the drugs and the dieting, all this stuff, you go a little wonky, right? Like, and everyone can admit it, they don't want to, but like you go a little off. Like you start to think things that aren't true. You start to like second guess things or think things are weird that aren't weird. Because now that I'm removed from the world, I see how weird people act, right? So I see how odd the behavior is, and I can understand it because I've been there, right? So my biggest advice as a bodybuilder, we just trust your instincts and stick by the people that stick by you. Because if they're there from the beginning, they really have no malice intent. They're not there to like get content from you. They're not there to make a name off of you. You know what I mean? They're in the battle and the journey coming up with you. And if you find good people like that, even if it's further down the road, hang on to them like fucking for dear life, because those people in life in general are few and far between, right? So if someone has good intentions and they have your back and they're learning from them and you're getting better, just stay as close to those people as you can, because these other people who come in are like vultures. They're gonna want to, like, they see that you're coming up in bodybuilding and doing well, and they want to attach themselves to you and have you pull them up with them, right? So it's like, just stick to your friends, stick to your day one people, and then the good people you meet along the way, be good at identifying those people and keep them around as well, right? And also don't bounce around from coach to coach. Just stick to a coach. Because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to your effort and your work in the gym that makes the difference, not the food you ate. Like, I hate to break that to everybody. I hate to burst prep coaches' bubbles, but they all know it too. So if I have a client that doesn't work hard, doesn't listen to what I say, and then they don't do well. So two of those factors are them, the other one's me, the diet. So two of the three factors are you. So understand, if you're doing all those, if you train your ass off, you follow everything to a T, and then at the end your coach fucks you up because he tells you to do stupid shit, okay, well then it's time for him to go. But you have to have blind faith in that coach. You can't be questioning everything they tell you. You can't be like, oh, Laura's my coach, and Laura tells me to eat this, and then I run down there and I go talk to this guy, and he's like, oh, you shouldn't do that, you should do this, and I listen to him. Or I start making up scenarios in my head that are acceptable to me to substitute ideas with, right? So like, I substituted doing this for that because it's kind of the same thing. It's like, no, you have a plan and you stick to the plan. That's what you do, right? Any other facet in life, if you work a job at a corporation and you go off the fucking reservation with what you decide to do, your ass is getting fired. But in this case, you're paying the person whose advice you're not listening to. So that's absolute madness, right? So to summarize all that, trust in yourself, keep good people around you, and give things that you're doing enough time to see if they work or not. I gotta find one deeper on the list. MPMFO_Mothasu asks, growing legs, should you hit them twice in a week? Should you hit them twice in a week or once? I have a different view on this than most people, because the best progression I saw in my legs was when I tried training them more frequently. So thanks to another great person who I had around me, who I've kind of fell out of contact with because I don't live in the States anymore, a buddy of mine named Musa. He introduced me to this concept. I don't know whether he heard it from Charles Glass or heard it from somewhere else, but he said to me, he's like, yo, like, why don't you try, because he knew Iris Kyle, and he'd say, like, you know, why don't you try training your legs to bring them up? Why don't you train them back-to-back days? And I'd never heard of anyone doing that. But I'm like, fuck. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So I committed myself to training legs back-to-back every week. Every Monday and Tuesday I'd train legs. And then the rest of the week I'd just be doing my body parts or whatever. But like, I literally put on like almost 3 to 4 inches on my legs that year. One, because I was training them smarter, because I knew I couldn't train like a maniac 2 days in a row. So I started breaking up my workouts into, like, the first day would be kind of like a heavier day, and more like my bigger lifts, like hack squats and like heavy leg press and overhead leg press, things like that. And then my second day would be more of like hamstring dominant, but it would also be a lot of pumping on the quad. So I'd almost flush out the soreness from the day before by like getting more blood to flush into the legs. And like for the first maybe month, my legs were really fucked. Like they were like, I was like taking the whole week to recover from those 2 days. But as I got going, my body kind of adapted to it. And I still do a similar thing that I train now that I've come back to training like full time and not doing other things. I train legs on Tuesdays and I train legs on Saturdays. So in the 7-day stretch of a week, I train them twice. I just don't do back to back anymore, because I'm old and I'm lazy, and it takes a lot of like courage for me to get up and do legs. But yeah, so I mean, I'm all for it, and I think, like I said, like, don't think that because people tell you have to train every body part once a week or you don't grow. It's like, no man, try it. I can't say whether it's going to work for you or not, because I don't know your recovery, I don't know your nutrition, I don't know your drug protocol, I don't know what kind of like state you're in as a human being to be able to handle that workload. But I would say if you're enhanced in any way and you are giving a fuck about your training and you're putting work into it, give it a try and see if it works. Maybe don't go back-to-back leg days if you don't feel like you can, but hitting legs twice a week, I'm all for it, especially if it's a body part you're trying to bring up. Like, you guys have to understand, your body's very, very intelligent. It does what it does because it's like this wonderful machine, but it's also very stupid in the sense that you have to tell it what you want repeatedly in order for it to happen, right? It's the same idea as like practicing something. You need to do something, whatever they say, 10,000 times before it becomes a skill, right? Whatever the fuck the number is. It's the same thing with working out. If I want my triceps to grow, I can't just stimulate them once a week. Isolating wise, I'm talking about just tricep, not pressing and all that stuff. Like, if I want to pump blood to that area and I want that area to grow, I have to reinforce to my body, hey man, I want that to grow. I want you to send all this nutrients and everything I have and my healing ability of all my body to send there to grow and build more muscle fiber, right? So we have to understand, like, you have to be, it's like training for dummies, right? Like, if I want my chest to grow, that's not to say that because you want your chest to grow, you should do your chest twice a week no matter what. You should start, one, training your chest better, or training your triceps better. And then once you've understood and you're hitting the muscle properly, then it's time to add in another day maybe. But just the simple act of doing things twice a week without having the right connection and knowing how to train might be a bit of wasted motion, but I'm all for it. If you know what you're doing and you have a good understanding and connection to various parts of your body, then it's probably time for you to do that. I've never seen a downside to stimulating something more often than not, to be honest. Going forward with the channel, I'm going to keep doing these kind of Q&As, and you guys can keep writing in. If you want to write in the comments, you can, or I'll just post again on Instagram and kind of make it exclusive to the channel so that people are seeing that we're creating this community, right? So if you guys have friends or girls have friends that want answered questions, or you guys want to see me critique a certain movement, you guys want to send in videos to my Instagram, or we'll probably create an email send in videos of you working out, and we'll see if we can get those videos on, and we'll do in-gym critiques of different things. Just to create this, like I said, get this idea of this community going where people are learning, and we're not holding bodybuilding in this high standard where it's like, oh, it's this thing you don't understand. It's so mysterious. It's like, no, man, it's really simple. It's super simple. It's just that no one wants to take the time to let people in on what's going on, right? So it's like, lift properly, take care of yourself, sleep, eat, and you will grow. It doesn't matter whether you do 5 sets of 5, you do 10 sets of 10, you do this fucking pyramid style of lifting where you taper up, taper down, cardio up, cardio down. The simple fact is, if you are moving efficiently and you are moving on muscle, and all those other factors, nutrition, gear, all that stuff is in point, you will grow. And that's what we want to promote here, is people getting huge and jacked and having fun.